Greetings and salutations. We are XL14 on our Demigod transmuter, and we have not yet died. We've come close, but we have not yet died. So our streak is still on. We have basically finished the Orcish mines. Didn't really find anything that was going to help us too much. So now we have to consider where else will we go. And we also need to consider what our path out of here is. Right now we're basically killing things with Summon Ice Beast and Ice Form. We have Summon Mana Viper, almost castable. And if we get some hexes, that'll help us with Yara's Violent Unraveling. And that'll be a pretty clear positive for us. There are a few other things that we could look to do. We could try and get some Conjuration to get a Radiate. Or we could keep trucking away on Summoning for Monstrous Menagerie. That's something that really will benefit from higher spell power. So that's a little bit of a downside. Dragon Form we picked up. Yeah, all of these things are going to require a lot more experience. So what we're doing right now is we're going to get a little bit more on hexes, a little bit more on spellcasting, a little bit more on fighting. And we'll just kind of see where that takes us. We just got done training a bunch of dodging. I think probably what we'll need to do is to turn on summoning. And we'll probably need to turn on transmutations. Dragon Form is going to be a really nice thing for us to get. We're not really set up for it just yet, but it would be really nice to get. But for now, we're going to focus on Summon Mana Viper, and then we'll see how far that goes. So let's go ahead and get Mana Viper. We have cleared almost all of Dungeon. Elf would probably be a good thing to try to get to. But we're a little low on willpower. We can probably ditch our armor class ring to get some resist or some willpower. But I think probably we should go to the snake pit. And we'll have to be careful going through later because Gastronach is here. So we'll enter and then we'll just skip on past. And let's go to the snake pit. We're probably going to have to spend most of the time in ice form because of the poison. We don't have any resist poison. We did find the ring, but we don't really want to use it. Welcome back to the stream. We could always end up using Ice Blast, but I think we're probably... Okay, well, we haven't trained much Evo. We'll let them get a little closer. Because we have two of them, we're gonna go ahead and use it. We're in ice form. We're getting hit. We're getting hit a lot. Holy moly. So this kind of calls into question whether or not we should be bothering doing what we're doing. Ugh, how annoying. This makes me want Dragon Form a lot, just so that we can have that high damage output. But that Dragon Form is pretty far away. We don't have the spell levels. We got to 50% on Monstrous Menagerie. It's just tough. It's tough. We're gonna have to get Transmutation up. And let's go ahead and focus these two. And stop transmutations at 12. And then we'll see where we go. Alright, Guardian Serpent, bad. Bad, bad, bad. Let's break line of sight. Or not. Swamp. Snake and swamp. I hate to burn the blinking scrolls, but we really had no choice. This is another reason why we should try and go after Irradiate. Irradiate, we're pretty close on being able to cast. Okay, not so much, but... Ugh. The hexes, we will eventually need that. We're just in a tough bind with our power curve in trying to get powerful enough to where we can actually kill things. We can do a better job of exploring and trying to ignore the Guardian Serpent. We can also use lignification, and that might help some. Speaking of, so let's wait a few turns, and let's preemptively go into ice form. Alright, cool. The thing with ice form is that our evasion is so bad. It makes it really difficult to take many hits. Which is why I want to start using a shield. we've gotten by pretty far without training very much into transmutation. Mostly because we didn't need it. But we really need to get it higher. Dragon form is a good goal. Kind of part of my strategy, because we have this insane robe, I'm trying to cast more in Beastly Appendage, and it kind of makes me wonder if we shouldn't just chase summonings to try and get Monstrous Menagerie, but if we train the hexes, we'll get Summon Mana Viper, which will give us some utility. Transmutations and hexes will give us Yaras, which will definitely have some utility. And we probably need to train it anyway. That's really not good. Those salamanders are really just wrecking me. Holy shit, this sea snake. Oh no. Am I gonna have to use another blink scroll? I'm gonna have to use a fear scroll. Holy shit. Kind of feel like I'm in over my head. You know, I tried to train dodging for a bit. And maybe I should get that resist poison ring. Yeah, I do have to be careful, of course, for St. Roca. Got huge, huge plate armor. Well, poop. I guess I can try and go into swamp, but I'm gonna run into the exact same problem that I'm running into in Snake Pit. That problem, namely, is, I'm getting wrecked in Ice Beast form. I have a single scroll of amnesia that I don't really want to use. If I picked up some conjuration, I could get a radiate. But I'd have to, like, stop everything that I'm doing right now and go get the conjuration. How much damage will it do? Is it anywhere close to 3d13? 3d16? I mean, that's a great amount of damage. Alright, so let's do that. We'll stop hexes at 5. Transmutations will keep. Radiate does lower AC? We got almost to the end of dungeon 14. So we've got a little bit more experience there that we can get. And we can also peek into Elf, although I did it on my last transmuter without resist electric, but I had blade hands at that time. So, yeah, let's go ahead and focus conjuration up to 5. We'll focus spellcasting up to our 6, because we actually might need it up to 7. But that's okay, we have time for that. Fighting we're almost done with. I don't see any good way of getting St. Roca out of here, besides using like a scroll of summoning, which wouldn't be that bad, but we really don't have the need to do that at the moment. In fact, if we were going to use the scroll of summoning, we should probably use it on Gastronach, because that intelligence hat could help us with our spell success. And this is part of the thing, I've never really played a Demigod. I really feel like I'm at a loss. I don't have a whole lot of great things. So we partially explored some of Dungeon 14. The main reason why we didn't is because there was this big bad vault entrance and there was Rupert and Nessos. So, you know, there's that. So we can get our summon crew out. Try to kill this thing. This ugly thing. Okay, there's a lot of ugly things. Let's take 2 of them. So I guess the real question is, how much do we need the base damage input? So it's about a 50-50 chance for it to hit us right now. If we go into ice form, let's see. So we get an extra 12 from ice form plus freezing, and the auxiliary, so we get horns and talons. I need to look up ox attack, I think. Yeah, but if we stay in this form, we get the really super handy regen, which I'd like to keep if at all possible. A shield could help us, but what we really need is some burst DPS. I literally was just saying that as a character we did not need the burst DPS, and now we need it. So this staircase is getting hairier and hairier. And we have Louise. Does she get a demon trident of distortion? No, electrocution. This is pretty bad. We probably should not go back down there. Alright, so Dungeon 14's out. We could go into Elf, but then we have to deal with Saint Roka. Elf could be good, as long as we don't get banished. And the conjured weapons are pretty tricky. But we do have Mana Viper. I think we need to poke our heads in Swamp and see how bad it is. Sometimes they're really bad, and you poke your head in and there's lots of things trying to kill you. No, there's no resist electricity. Besides the Shield of the Gong. And we could wear the Storm Dragon Scales, but then we wouldn't be able to cast, and we'd give up the quad regen. And I'm not really keen to do that. I'm not even keen to lose 5 evasion on the Shield of the Gong. We don't even have a single potion of resistance, so the odds are not really in our favor. There's a chance that there's something sweet in here. You know, we got an artifact ring. The Moths of Wrath have a strong potential, and it's a natural ability. It's not anything we can silence. We don't have any invocables, so we can't do a condenser vein. Nothing. So let's just do a cursory look. Okay, so not many artifacts. Yeah, I think we poke our head in Swamp and hope that we're not surrounded by hornets and spriggans. Okay, 7-headed Hydra. Not great, but we have a means of doing something about that. so that's not so bad. Got a swamp worm. Should be able to take that out, no problem. Goliath frog and a Spriggan druid. We can try and stair dance those, I guess. Let's make sure we are aware of how much damage this Goliath frog does. They do acid damage from afar. Ugh. Our evasion is not great. Yeah, we basically get hit 10% more in ice form. But we don't really have the option. Come on, Spriggan Druid. Let's do it. Alright, Goliath Frog. If you want to kill us, you gotta come get us. Alright, nice. I'm feeling a little shook. Will-o'-the-wisp. Marshlight. 2 times 3d14? What in the heck is that? So it's like a foxfire. So basically we need to rush them. But then they also blink. Okay. That's kind of annoying. So let's see. What else do we have around here? Nothing too exciting. We're wearing a protection of fire, so yeah, we do get a minus fire resist, but we're at normal, so at least we're not vulnerable at the moment. I'm kind of anticipating that these swamp worms are gonna like harpoon us into the water. Alright, so we have 4 spell levels left. We can use a Scroll of Amnesia to free up a single level, but I think we're gonna have to get spellcasting up to 7. Our Conjuration probably needs to get up to 7 as well. Our hexes are fine enough for now. 8% on Summon Man Viper is not good, but we're not really using the hexes for anything, so we'll have to deal with it. Because we're going to need the experience on everything possible to get Irradiate up. Where did this swamp worm go? Did it just totally forget about us? That's annoying. Yeah, this music, I'm gonna have to change it. You're probably gonna see my screen. No, probably not. There we go, this is a little more calming. Long ago on the internet, I downloaded a bunch of instrumental files. No idea where they came from, I just downloaded them, and I knew them by their file name only. And it turns out that one of them was from Ultima Online, and so I put on the Ultima Online game soundtrack. And I like putting on game soundtracks, but the thing that's not great is, you know, if you're playing the game, you're gonna hear that audio for many minutes at a time on a loop, mostly, or maybe they cycle between a few different things. But when you listen to the game soundtrack, you don't really have the time to get into the ambiance, and then they throw in the boss music and the intense stuff, kind of. So it ends up being a little intense. Okay, 2 more swamp drakes. That's We're not even stealthy. They really shouldn't be making it so difficult to get their attention. I mean, it's not that I want to wake up the whole level, so sure, I'm grateful for not. Okay, cool. So we had a little swamp drake pond over here. Definitely need to be in ice form for the bog body. Let's get our mana viper out, and let's help them be friends. Oh shit. Okay, so 6-headed hydra, not the worst. We'll need an ice beast. Oh no, we got one of those will-o'-the-wisp things, and those do a shit ton of damage. So what are we gonna do? We could use our last fear scroll. We could use another blink scroll. We could use a teleport scroll, considering we've cleared most of the level. That's what we're gonna go ahead and do. And I guess we'll get another ice beast. Oh shit, we're gonna have to blink. Damn, we just used a lot of resources. That damn will-o'-the-wisp, man. As soon as I saw that, that should have changed my strategy. So how close are we to irradiate? 22? Alright, well, we're getting there. So I guess we can try and pull them out one by one. Let's get our summons just in case there's something bad around the corner. And we'll do the dumb shout from afar, see if anything comes at us. We're a little far away from shouting. We're also running out of mana. Okay, well, nothing so far. Nice. Nice, this is what we wanted. Now we can worry about fighting other things, now that that hydra's done. Being in an open space against this will-o'-the-wisp doesn't seem like it would be very good. One of the things we could do is we could consider using our wand of digging to open up this escape. And if we opened up this escape, that also gives us, it's actually a pretty good idea. It gives us a nice little murder corner. So let's see if we can draw this will-o'-the-wisp. Yes, the answer is yes. Now they're going to try and stay on the edge of our line of sight, more than likely. Right, they haven't even begun to engage us. See invisible, mindless, and they also blink. Alright, we didn't take too much damage. Alright, so we almost died on Swamp 1. We had to burn a blink and a teleport scroll. Whoa. Hello there. 5 slay, +1 buckler, resist corrosion. What does that do to our spell success? So we're at 22% on radiate, 18 evasion. So we go from 5 to 10 shield rating, we lose 1 evasion. We lose a few percent on Summon Mana Viper. Everything else is still 5% or less. Irradiate goes to 28. The 5 Slay and the Resist Corrosion. This honestly messes our experience up. And I don't like to turn unarmed combat off. But let's think about this. 1 level of unarmed combat is going to give us 1 base damage. If we wear this shield, it's giving us 5. So for 10 experience, we can get our shield to level 3 or 4. And if we do that, we're going to have much better damage. That also, yeah, that's good. We're going to want to use a shield long term. And this will help our survivability slightly. The main reason why we're doing this is the 5 Slay. 5 Slay is pretty insane. Okay, well I guess we're on to Swamp 2. This has been pretty scary. This is our first attempt at it's not our first attempt, but it's a pretty successful streak so far in that we haven't died yet. And normally we die by now. There's a lot of just really nasty things in Swamp that we'd rather not fight, but it's better than anything else at the moment. So, again, let's see what's on Swamp 2. Big ol' nasty Hydra, Bog Body, and a Spriggan Rider. The Hydra can one-shot us. I'm gonna mark that as an exclude, and we'll try our luck at the next level. Okay, well that seems immediately better. No obvious enemy. We have a Goliath Frog, which is a little less scary now that we have Resist Corrosion, but once we get into Ice form, we're not going to have that at our disposal. Whoa, look at how much that Slay is helping. Okay, alright, okay. Bloated Husk. I think these are the ones that just like explode, they just charge you. Yeah. So what should we use? Immune to poison, 25 HP. That means we need to use like a javelin or something. Okay, or it can just explode on us. Luckily we got this badass Robe of Vines. Doesn't really do much to us. That's right, we're fumbling our attacks because we're in the water. So, our goal right now is to get Irradiate. still wonder if that's a mistake. Irradiate's really good though, so it's just we're putting a lot of experience into transmutation and conjuration. We already put a lot of experience into summonings, but I think ultimately the summons have saved our butt many times. And that Mana Viper is going to be really useful when we need it. And we've been doing our best to avoid having to need it, because it's better to avoid than mitigate, generally. There does come a time where you have to mitigate, you have to face things, but I've been trying to postpone that. Yeah, these bloated husks do a bunch of damage. I'm not a fan. We can't polymorph them either. Okay, well there's really no point even trying to kill it at this point. Alright, so let's get our corrosion gear back on. Nice, so we're gonna get 4 stat points that we're just gonna put straight to intelligence. And hopefully that'll help a good deal with our spell casting. How close did we get? Hey, that took us like 5% right there. So let's go ahead and memorize Irradiate. I'm gonna take transmutations only to 10. And we will proceed slowly. And these swamp worms, ugh. The harpoon shot. I'm a big fan of how they've changed the dungeons over the years and each of the different branches. There's really like a niche that each of them fill, much more so than it used to be. And they make me play pretty differently. I mean, maybe I'm just doing it wrong, but they make me think of doing different things. So to me that's successful. Come on, Ice Beast. If you can kill it, then I don't have to. Alright, we're gonna have to. Yeah, and it's times like this that I feel a little happier about the summoning. Like, even though we're not in ice form, we were able to slow the alligator down. We don't have any spell levels, but that's okay. Really, the only spell that would be really nice to have at the moment would be Yara's. We need a lot of spell casting to do that. That, or use our single scroll of amnesia on something, but I don't want to blow it on an easy thing. So I'd like to have the slay for the Hydra, but I think we're gonna need yeah, maybe we won't. Maybe we can just cast Beastly Appendage and that'll be okay. We get better evasion, we have the +5 slay. Yeah. Yeah, that's actually working out okay. Our 2 levels in shield have already given us an extra shield rating. It kind of sucks that it's a +1 buckler. It's not really endgame material, but it is exactly what we need right now. The other thing that I really like about how they've designed the game is that the developers have tried to remove no-brainer spells. So when I first started playing, this is years and years ago, Swiftness just gave you a bonus to your movement speed. There was no downside. The downside was that it was a Charms air spell, so you had to spend the experience, and then there was also Spell Hunger. And so back then, with Spell Hunger, spells were balanced by what level they were and how much food you had to spend in order to cast them. And so, like, you could cast Dig as many times as you wanted, as long as your spell power was high enough. And it kind of got to the point where it's like, kind of thinking we go spider form for this thing, but these were like no-brainer spells, so it's like, oh, of course I should get Swiftness. Oh, of course I should get Dig. And there aren't very many spells like that anymore. I guess the closest is probably probably like statue form or necromutation. Apportations is no brainer, but at least it's only, you know, level 1. You could argue that stuff like summon small mammal is a no-brainer because you can not be adjacent to an enemy. You know, you may think, oh, blink, you know, get blink. But there's a lot of good skills, and there's a cost to each of them. And so you kind of have to think about it a little bit more, which I enjoy. Well, I guess we're going to have to see what's on Swamp 3. We don't quite have Irradiate in castable form yet. But we may have to save that for another day. And by another day, I mean tomorrow. But let's at least take a look and see what kind of a Swamp 3 we're up against. Okay, not so bad. We'll clear this staircase. Yeah, not so bad. Let's try another one. Spriggan Rider and Tyrant Leech. Neither of those we really want to fight at the same time. And then, yeah, we'll take this Goliath Frog. And what else was down there? Is that an Eleonoma? Let's see. Yeah, and there's a Tyrant Leech. Splinter Spray. And Wood Wheel. Well, let's go back to this first one we went down. And that's how we'll start next time. So thanks for watching. Hopefully we won't die. Good night, Railbird 80. Good night, said no one. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back. We are experience level 15, Demigod Transmuter. We are at the penultimate level of the swamp. What we're trying to do is get enough experience to get Irradiate up. Once we get Irradiate up, and we're very, very close, we will have to decide another plan of action. But for now, we're going to get another rank of transmutations, another rank and a half of conjurations, and then we're going to get some spellcasting. We actually may need to bump these up a little bit. Spellcasting we're for sure going to need. It's not the best experience expenditure, but we are going to need it. Let's go a little more in conjurations too. So a lot of the spell power is actually based on average skill level of the affected schools. There's that Tyrant Leech we were kind of trying to avoid, and there's probably still that Spriggan beneath it. If we were going to engage them, we'd have an easier time engaging them at the other staircase. So we got Eleonomas. We got Splinter Spray, which looks pretty nasty. Wow, they must be extremely fast. I don't know how they got to us so quickly. How do we get them not next to a tree? Because they're healing themselves a lot. Cool. The Eleonoma can travel quickly through trees. Interesting. Whoa, 3 Spriggan Riders. We are gonna need to get out. We can try and kite one up, and that's no big deal, but we gotta get out of here. We can maybe get 2 of them. So they're just on the other side of these trees, kind of far away from us. Okay, so let's just go the other direction. Looks like we're gonna have to fight those Spriggan Riders, unless there's a break in the tree, in the tree line. Well, that's not so bad. Looks like they all dispersed from the place that they were. We really don't want to be caught unaware. Like, if we're in the middle of a fight and those Spriggan Riders show up, that would suck. But, here we go. So we at least found one of them. We don't have a good way of escaping currently, but... big old ring of evasion. I think I'd rather have that than the AC. Man, it's tough. It's tough, because we also don't have very much AC. And we're not going to have very much AC because of this robe that we're wearing. Kind of the hope when we selected Demigod was that we'd be able to take advantage of armor slots that we didn't have available to us as a Draconian. Now, please don't get me wrong, because the armor that we have in this armor slot is probably the best body armor I've ever found in all my time playing Crawl. I said maybe, though. It doesn't have any resists, and that's the main downside. But in terms of the upside, the Robe of the Vine, yeah, quad regen, that gives us well over 3 HP a turn, 3.5 HP per turn. So the main thing to be worried about is our survivability and not overestimating it, because if we're regenning, of course we're in a form most of the time, but if you're regenning 3.5 a turn, that's a pretty significant percentage armor reduction. These swamp worms make me a little nervous. But we got the Hydra, no problem. Scroll of Summoning came in and saved us right there. So we're really not increasing our killing power very much right now. At least not the way we're killing things. It gives me a lot of hesitation. But we're deliberately trying to get a radiate up. And we just need a little bit better spell success before we can spam it. And by spam it, I mean cast it 3 times. No more than 3 times. I think you can cast it 4, maybe. Maybe, but I also may have used a cancellation potion. I think that's what I did. So you can use it more, sure. Well, that's not the result we were hoping for with the ghost crab. At all. Damn. Now we got this bullshit in our way. We could dig through the other side. We have plenty of digging. We haven't really used it as much as we could have. Nice. Ghost crab is dead. That spectral cloud crap that they do. It doesn't take long to learn that lesson. I have died from that before. And so part of me goes, well, what about all this meta knowledge of the game? Can someone really come in as a new player and pick it all up? You know? I think right now the game is in a much better position for that, particularly because of the examine mechanic. For example, you press X and then you can hit equal, and the equal sign will cycle between targets, and then you hit V to view the thing you're examining. The HP display, armor class, evasion, willpower, all that's new. Percent to evade you, also new. How much damage it does, also new. Percentage to hit you. All of these things never used to be there. So Crawl's in a great place from the standpoint of that sort of documentation. Nice. So I think probably we're okay with our shield level. Oh, damn. Draconians, swamp dragons, but they are guarding a condenser vein. Anyhow, we gotta get out of here. We're gonna go into ice form so that we can cross the water. We want to break line of sight. It's kind of a long way to go all the way out here, but it's really not the worst. It'll end up being pretty safe anyhow. Alright, Ice Beast, bring him to us. Let's get a new Ice Beast. Okay, that was not the best decision, because now we're standing in poison gas. Now we have swamp dragons. Alright, we're just gonna have to deal with this poison gas. And just hope that our form doesn't expire. But after it does expire, we've got Robe of the Vine. This condenser vein is definitely worth training evocations on. So we really do want to get a radiate up, but this condenser vein is one of those things that will save your butt. And you get to use it over and over. Well, kind of. Oh, we have this vault in the middle of Swamp 3. I need to check our map and make sure that we weren't on Swamp 4. We're going to do the same thing, basically run really, really far away. The fact that we had those 2 swamp dragons and the green draconian, and only those, ended up being pretty important to our survival, as we had to rest afterwards and recover. So I think we're probably going to end up doing that again, but let's see. Where's the swamp drake? Swamp dragon. Roars, but nothing else roared. So let's just wait for it around the corner. Well, this is an improvement. We finished Swamp 3. We now only have 1 level left to go. We were kind of getting wrecked in the snake pit. But we have gotten some more experience since then. Irradiate, if we really needed to cast it, we'd be able to. Still need to get the success better, but that's okay. I'm actually going to turn spellcasting off. It's a lot of experience it's sucking up. I don't know that we really need that much conjuration. So I guess let's check out Snake Pit again. And we'll go back to the swamp. It's just there's some really, when you're at the end of a branch, one of the things that can happen is that you can encounter really difficult enemies, bosses, basically. As close as this game has to bosses. And this game definitely has bosses. It's just, it's not fixed. So sometimes you'll get something really scary, and sometimes you'll get something that's less scary. Sometimes you'll wonder if you got anything at all. Last time that sea snake was ruining us, but we were not in ice form, so we didn't slow it at all. So we got this electric eel. That I'm just going to consider this to be good enough explored. So, auto-pathing took us on a bad path. Knew better than to do that. So in terms of stuff that we could find, it would be great to find a manual, or we'd wear a ring of wizardry for right now. Let's go ahead and put our fire resist back on. And let's just see, how much does this affect our evasion? If we put on this dex ring, we go from 18 to 19. Okay, that's not very good. We did get an extra shield rating, but not worth it. Not worth it. So what should we wear instead of this dexterity ring? I like using resist fire because we're in Ice Beast a lot right now. And it's bad enough when enemies do big damage to you, let alone damage that's even bigger. I'm not a fan of having a negative resistance. It's like a real negative. We were wearing our armor ring. 4 damage a hit is pretty big. If we increased our evasion, that might be better. That'll help us more in ice form, at least. 19 EV in ice form. Yeah, let's stick with the evasion ring. And let's check out Snake Pit 2. We almost died in Snake Pit 1, like multiple times. Ruined robe. I always hope that it's like a robe of resistance or something. Even though I really like the quad regen. Azukubu's autobiography. If we wanted some ice magic, I bet it's here. Azukubu's armor and Azukubu's refrigeration. We aren't really repositioning ourselves that much. And if we just had one more spell level, we could cast Azukubu's armor. That would be pretty good. Because we're not really casting or spamming spells very much. We're mostly just standing in one spot, and then after we stand in one spot, then we book it. And the Azukubu's armor, even though it's ice magic, really fits into transmutation, in my opinion. Transmutation's it's kind of like a situational caster. We your play style, I mean, it's crawl, so your play style is going to be, okay, let me reposition myself into a favorable configuration, and then I'm going to smack enemies to death, or kill them, or shoot them, you know, like you're going to do something like that. But as a transmuter, you kind of have to think about, like, every battle. And it's not just, oh, let me run in there. And it's funny because I might say philosophically, I like, you know, having to think about these other things besides, oh, let me just run in there. In all reality, though, it's really convenient when you can just kind of run in there. And that's like, honestly, that's the goal. If you skill your character correctly, what you'll find is that you're able to do those sorts of things. Alright, so let's get this Mana Viper. Salamander Mystic playing games with us, but they lost, finally. Are they susceptible to cold? Yes. So... we do have the resist fire, so we should be okay. Whoa, holy fuck. We gotta use a... oh no, we gotta use a blink scroll. Yeah, we just fucking ran in there with a berserked salamander. I did not expect them to get berserked. Of course, they are wearing an orb of wrath. Shit. We could haste ourselves. How much haste do we have? Yes, that's what we're doing. Except they're still catching up. Alright, fine. We'll get an ice beast, and then we'll haste. Looks like we're keeping our distance. So let's get our regen. And let's also make sure we're not going towards a dead end, which would be aptly named. Now, kind of the cool thing about this salamander is that if it stops being berserk, then we'll actually have an easier time killing it. It's just that I don't really want to be close to it at all. Alright, cool. So that was bad. That was really, really insanely bad, and we probably should not have been in ice form. I literally had that thought, and I was explaining away why on earth we were in ice form. So what we're trying right now to do is to see how long can we really stay in demigod form. Because the shield's really gonna help our survivability. So welcome to the stream, Satiric. The demigod, we have almost died many times. I like to think that probably that was more due to me than being a demigod, though. Compared to a draconian, so far it's nice to be able to have decent evasion and some spellcasting. We're really only just now coming into our character in that respect. So it's just been surviving. Being able to get +4 to a stat was really nice. Still is really nice. That's like, that was part of our strategy. Was like, oh man, we now know we need intellect. Oh shit, Nagaraja. So that's pretty bad. We can't really escape. It's catching its breath, which is good. Okay, so let's get out of line of sight. Think for a second. We want our Mana Viper, we want an Ice Beast, and then maybe we'll go Ice Form. 1, 2, 3. Very nice. Tell them to attack. Mana Viper is going in, doing its thing. It's gonna die. But it's a backup character, is what it is. And we suffered no real risk. Way to go, team. I'm just a huge fan that they changed the summoning experience this year. Before midway through this year, if you were attacking with summons, those monsters, most of the time, were going to be less worth 50% experience. Which blows. So they took it away, which means you can actually use summons now without feeling like you're going to permanently disadvantage your character. I'm also a fan that they reduced the number of things you can summon. We'll do the old run away from the stairs to bait the spear user. Shock Serpent's no good. We definitely don't want to be around a Shock Serpent, especially if we're next to walls. The electricity will bounce off. That's a good question, Satiric. This demigod, I've actually recorded everything, and I was going to upload them to YouTube. And if the video of the days, or the VODs, if those are generated automatically by Twitch, then I should probably go in and do that. I am using copyrighted music though, and I haven't really attributed it. I mean, I have when people have asked, but it's not searchable. And I never wrote down what it was that I used. I can guess. Anyhow, that's not really relevant. I appreciate you asking. I was inspired to start streaming actually because I was listening to other people play Crawl. And I started off on a YouTube stream, like a beginner's guide to dungeon crawl. And then lately I've been listening to one of the Crawl developers, and they were recording their streaks. So, you know, I'm doing the same thing now that I have a streak. Well, we were going to maybe try and get into ice form, but we're definitely not going to do that anymore because we're fighting mana vipers. Oh, Satiric. That's a very nice compliment and a very nice thing to say. I haven't watched many people, listened to many people stream. I know my streaming skills are not very good. I'm mostly just here to play Crawl and talk about Crawl with anybody else who comes over. That's the goal. Besides that, our goal is to go down to Snake 3. And we have the Shock Serpent with us now. As a serpent, they are susceptible to cold. So just remember that when you're fighting snakes. In this game, birds are not susceptible to cold. But in real life, birds would be super susceptible to cold. Not as much as a snake, though. So I guess it makes sense that they didn't do it that way. Was that a harpy down here? Usually harpies come in packs. I don't know why there would be a harpy. Maybe I'm just messing up what the tiles look like. Do our trick to lure them up the stairs. So do you play Crawl, Satiric? Do you have any epic characters? Alright, so Snake 3, we've got Asterion, the Fallen King, who I believe is some sort of demon minotaur. Yeah, a minotaur king that follows Mokleb. We haven't played a Mokleb character in quite some time. "15 rune runs only." Wow, so you probably know the end game much better than I do at this point in time. Yeah, our next character, maybe we'll go with Mokleb. We've only played 25 of them ever before, and more than a third of them were in version 0.5, which was like 13 years ago. So we haven't played Mokleb characters very often. Unsurprisingly, half of them are kobolds. Okay, but anyhow, we have Asterion, and he can haste, right? Yeah, he can haste. So we need to be really careful about running away. If they go haste, we're probably not going to be able to make it to the stairs, and we're going to have to do something else. Oh, that's tough. One tactic that would be kind of cool is we don't have a paralysis wand, but if we had a paralysis wand, we could paralyze the Naga, and then Asterion would not be able to go through. Yeah, and because they follow Mokleb and they've got Greater Servant of Mokleb, a major demon, yeah, Executioners are awful. So we've kind of burned a lot of our blinking scrolls. It's not quite safe to teleport. We do have another summoning scroll, but I'm just gonna see... Greeting, Cressitator. I'm just wondering if we can get out of line of sight. maybe we increase our chances of escaping. Well, that's nice. Yeah, Demigod Transmuter. It's a little lame because the last character I played was a Draconian Transmuter, and then I won. And then I just instantly went back to play Transmuter again. But, in my defense, I have been playing Transmuters, and I've been enjoying them. Like, it took me 8 or 9 attempts on the Draconian Transmuter to win. You know, I've kind of tried to play Transmuter before, but I've only really now, I think, figured it out. And a lot of it has to do with experience, honestly. I'm doing a pretty dangerous thing in that I've turned off my unarmed combat. I think I'll turn it back on. We have 6% on Irradiate. So let's stop focusing those. Oh yeah, true. Yeah, Soteric was there when we were in the Abyss and the game crashed and rolled our character back. And like we had found a spell that was useful. Let's go ahead and annotate this. So with this transmuter in particular, what I tried to do from the beginning was go dexterity with my stat gain. So I did that for my first one. And then usually what I do is I turn off unarmed combat at the very beginning and get a few cheap ranks of fighting. And then after that, then I turn unarmed combat back on. And then usually around that time is when I pick up a few levels of poison magic. And that basically gets spider form for you upline or online. And as a benefit, the way that I found that you've got to play Transmuter is you're going to be a hybrid from the beginning, right? But even when you're in melee range, that's when you're going to be using your spells. And that's what transmuters are so attractive to me. Yeah, statue form, if you end up finding it, should basically be a goal. All of the transmutations forms are useful. That's another fun part of it for me, is like you will use all of your spells. But you gotta keep your options open. So you pick up the poison magic to go spider form, and then what that does, that basically increases the likelihood that what you find will be useful. Because if you find a poison magic book and it has like Olgreb's Toxic Radiance in it or something, just go after the poison magic. And then turn your transmutation off, possibly. And then put your points into poison. You'll make spider form better. And then you're also investing your experience into something that'll kill things. Poison has Aringia's Noxious Bog, which I believe has a movement debuff. So you kind of release an AoE sludge that turns the ground into a bog, which does damage, poisons monsters, even on those resistant to poison. And it's a transmutation poison, so even better. It's a level 6 spell. I've never actually cast it, funny enough, but I think we probably have enough burst damage to kill this obsidian statue. So that's what we're going to try to do, just to kind of test out our power. And then of course we immediately get mesmerized. Well, we should have known that. Alright, well, let's rush it. Okay, not so bad. Cool little quarterstaff. Oh, does poison status effect aid defense-wise? No, I don't believe so. It leaves you open to ignite poison, which is bad. So this quarterstaff was late in the dungeon, dungeon 9, plus 2 quarterstaff of speed. This would be an item that every character hopes to pick up at early levels. Because even if you're training unarmed or a different weapon skill, the quarterstaff is just really nice. Alright, so dungeon 14 was kind of scary. We got Luis, Nessos, and Rupert. We can probably take Nessos. 72 HP. They can haste themselves and they do a bunch of damage and they fire quickly, but we can deal with that. Luis had that demon trident. Oh god, we can get banished. So we're definitely not going there. Alright. End of research. That means we gotta go back to the lair. But I'm gonna pause. I haven't had any breakfast. And I need to at least hydrate myself and take a hydration break. But that'll be only a few minutes. I'll be back. So I'll pause the stream and then I'll think about, when I'm back in a few minutes, where are we gonna go? And what are we gonna do? What are we gonna put our experience in? We just got to radiate up. That's super helpful. That's a big utility. We have other spells that would be really nice to have. Azukubu's armor. Be great to have that. Yara's violent unraveling. It'd be amazing to have that. Amazing. I can't stress how amazing it would be to get Yara's violent unraveling up there. And the reason I say that, we were just talking about Asterion. Summoning executioners. Well, if you know Yara's violent unraveling, you will tear the fabric of reality apart that binds that summoned being to existence. One cast. Gone. No more executioner. You can only do things one at a time, but it's a frickin' fantastic spell. So let's cut our conjurations off at roughly 7. And then let's get spellcasting. And I know it's a little expensive, but let's focus it up to 10. Let's unfocus evocation. Again, we'll leave transmutation. We're kind of hoping for dragon form or something. But we also have monstrous menagerie, which is at 41%. So we're actually pretty close to that, too. And monstrous menagerie will actually stand up. If we found ourselves in a situation where we were up against a Titan or an Executioner or a Lich or something that we really didn't want to be around for multiple turns, Monstrous Menagerie will stand up to those enemies and will deflect and do some damage. It's a little unreliable, It's a little unpredictable, I'll say. You can rely on the spell for sure, but you just can't predict what exactly is going to happen. And Monstrous Menagerie is fantastic. But in this case, we're really close to Yara's Violent Unraveling, and that's going to be better. So it's going to be better based on the weaknesses that our character currently has. It'd be nice to get dragon form, but we're too far away. We're basically too far away from Monstrous Menagerie. So let's pick up things on the way that will help us. Otherwise, we have all this wasted experience. And as a demigod, we really need the experience we get, because there are no outside abilities. So we're in a pretty good spot, all things considered. Actually, let's stop our conjurations even sooner. And let's pick up one more level of hexes. We'll keep the transmutation. Should probably turn fighting off. The resists are not good. So we have a Scarf of Resistance. And then we have rings. Our ring options are resist fire, resist cold, resist negativity, or we've got evasion. I would love to have an intelligence ring, a wizardry ring, but we haven't found any of those. There is an artifact ring. So when you do Control F to search for stuff, remember, if you're searching for a ring, you have to pass it two terms, ring and jewelry, otherwise you get ring mail. Yeah, layer 3, warped golden ring. We have this ghost vault we haven't done. We have a radiate. Oh, now that would be a exciting thing. Let's go over and take a look, and then we'll just ponder this when we go on break. We'll just ponder. Do we go in the vault and see what the fancy treasure is? Fancy treasure? Who knows what it could be? It could be wizardry. It could be slaying. It could be both. It could have those things and the resist that we need. Resist electric would also be very nice. But we really have no idea of knowing what it is. So, unfortunately, there's like 3 moths of wrath, cane toads, yaks, black mambas, and then we have a player ghost. Oops, that was a misclick. Ooh, Komodo dragon. But these are a lot less scary now. Hey, it's an ogre transmuter. So it would be a tough battle. We could probably irradiate the moths of wrath and the frogs and the black mamba down pretty easily. We may have to do the thing that we read a teleport scroll, go down. I don't know, maybe that's what we'll do, but we just don't know how good that ring could be. Just don't know. It could be the best ring. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a bio break, and I'll be back very shortly. I'm not even gonna leave the game. I'll put it on my playtime. So I'll be right back. All right. So we are back. Actually, we're not quite back. Let me stop this recording.